Snow is sweeping across parts of Oklahoma. We'll tell you when it might hit Norman. President Biden gets his chance to nominate a Supreme Court justice. Find out who's stepping down. And where to get drive-through COVID tests on campus are soon to be a thing of the past. This is OU Nightly. Hello and welcome to OU Nightly. I'm Kolby Terrell.
And I'm Jessie Klinger. We begin with a winter weather advisory for parts of Oklahoma.
Snow is already falling in some areas, so let's get right over to meteorologist Mikayla Smith, who's here with the details. Mikayla?
That's right. We are tracking some winter weather currently. This is out to the western portion of us here. So this is from Sharon and Elk City. We can see quite a bit of snow has already fallen out there. They've seen about an inch in the last hour. Now it's about half an inch that they've seen. And then we got these pictures from News 9. We can see this is in Oates, Oklahoma. So it's definitely starting to impact our roads just a bit. So you want to make sure that you give yourself plenty of time when you're driving, because the snowfall rates that are out there to the west are coming down fairly quickly. And then this picture is in Greer County in western Oklahoma as well. So that's going to start working its way towards central portion of Oklahoma. We can see our radar right here, Oklahoma City, Norman. So right now it's really the western counties that are getting affected. Lawton just now starting to see some of those snowfall totals. Elk City almost out of seeing those snowfall totals. And we can see that winter weather advisory that is in for our counties out there to the west. And that's going to expire at midnight tonight. So some areas that are going to see that heavier snowfall totals. We don't have that currently here in Norman, as we're not expecting much accumulation, but here's some of those snowfall totals we have seen. So about 1/4 of an inch so far in Lawton, 1/2 an inch down in Elk City, and then 2 inches. We've seen that so far in some areas. That's been our heaviest snowfall totals we've seen, is about 2 inches. So coming up in main weather, I'm going to tell you when you're going to see some snow here in Oklahoma City and Norman, how much snow you're going to see, and then we do have a warm up, and we might be back in the 60s by this weekend. So I'll time all of that out for you coming up in main weather.
Thanks, Mikayla. After 27 years, liberal Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is stepping down. President Joe Biden has made a promise for the next appointment for the spot. CNN's Paula Reed has more.
A coveted seat on the highest court in the land will soon come open, as Justice Stephen Breyer has announced his plan to retire. The question now, who will President Biden pick to replace him?
I made it clear that my first choice for the Supreme Court will make history as the first African-American woman justice.
A Supreme Court pick can be a president's most lasting legacy. Justices can serve for decades. Their decisions last for generations. For Breyer's spot, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is seen as the frontrunner. A former Supreme Court clerk for Breyer, she was vetted recently by Biden and his team and confirmed to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals to fill the seat left vacant by Attorney General Merrick Garland. The eventual nominee will likely face a daunting confirmation process. Breyer told several people who nudged him to retire that the confirmation process shouldn't be political.
If the public sees judges as politicians in robes, its confidence in the courts and in the rule of law itself can only diminish.
Some Democrats were worried Breyer would remain on the bench, and with the 2022 midterms looming, Senate Republicans have already raised the stakes around his retirement, with 5 GOP lawmakers telling CNN in December that they would likely oppose any nominee out of this White House if they take the majority in November.
Breyer plans to make his retirement official tomorrow.
The University of Oklahoma's Emmy testing location will stop testing for COVID tomorrow. Emmy Labs brought back their secondary testing location in the Timberdale parking garage to meet the rising need for tests. But as less tests have become needed and the number of signups have gone down, Emmy has opted to shift their focus back to their North Norman campus. Tomorrow will be the site's last day in operation. To sign up for a drive-through test or vaccine, go to portal.emmylabs.com.
Even with Emmy Labs leaving campus, students are still encouraged to get tested when experiencing COVID symptoms, as cases rise in Oklahoma. The State Health Department reports there are over 8,000 new cases today and nearly 126,000 active cases. Over 13,000 Oklahomans have died from COVID since the start of the pandemic. Medical experts say the best defense is to be fully vaccinated and wear a mask when in a group setting.
Low interest rates are expected to rise throughout 2022. Romelo Woodfork has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
The Federal Reserve is expected to hike interest rates multiple times throughout 2022. The central bank has kept interest rates near zero during the pandemic. Investors are expecting a raise in March during the Reserve's next meeting. Federal Chairman Jerome Powell said that we cannot confidently predict what path our interest rates will prove appropriate. The bank will continue to reduce its assets purchases ending in early March. Prince Andrew is facing sexual assault allegations connected to Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking. Virginia Giuffiere's lawsuit claims that Epstein trafficked her and forced her to have sex with his friends, including Prince Andrew. The prince has formally denied these allegations and has requested a jury trial. The UK royal has admitted to meeting Epstein in 1999, hosting him for the prince's birthday in 2000, and staying in Epstein's mansion in 2010. Nearly 40 people are missing after a vessel capsized off of Florida's Atlantic coast. The Coast Guard has been searching since yesterday morning after a report that a man was rescued clinging to a capsized vessel. The man told authorities that he left Bimini, Bahamas with 39 other people. The situation for any possible survivors continues to worsen the longer they are exposed to the marine environment without food and water. Thankfully, it's not baseball season because Kraft Heinz plans to raise prices on hot dogs and many other items beginning in March.
Thanks, Romelo. Students who park on campus are growing anxious after receiving an emergency text alert.
We'll tell you what you need to be cautious of in on-campus parking garages.
Plus, see how one celebrity might be saving the planet when OU Nightly returns.
OU police warned students and staff about break-ins at an on-campus parking garage. Police say that 2 different cars were stolen by 3 people at the Timberdale parking facility. An emergency text message was sent out yesterday evening saying suspects had been checking car doors to see if they were unlocked. After receiving the notice, some students expressed uneasiness about leaving their cars on campus.
I just like to trust people, but I mean, it's just a reminder, like you just gotta, there's bad people out there, like you gotta lock your car, just be responsible and stuff, and I mean, it's the best you can do, really.
We reached out to OUPD for comments on the break-ins, but did not get a response.
The Environmental Protection Agency is beginning to crack down on major polluting companies, but Oklahoma is making strides towards more renewable energy. Zaria Oates has this and more in Earth Report.
Right here in our backyard, Elite Clean Energy has set up a new Caddo wind farm in southern Oklahoma. The company says the wind turbines qualify for federal production tax credits, resulting in low energy costs. The wind park will provide renewable energy to McDonald's Corporation, Hormel Foods, and Oshkosh corporations. But other southern states aren't making the same strides toward clean energy. The Environmental Protection Agency is taking more aggressive action to combat air pollution, unsafe drinking water, and dangerous chemical plants. EPA Administrator Michael Reagan says the distance to elementary schools was a big pull for this initiative.
I saw elementary schools in close proximity to big industrial facilities that children were going to school to learn and looking out the window and seeing pollution spewing out their windows.
The EPA will conduct random reviews of chemical plants and industrial sites that they suspect of causing health problems from an increased amount of air pollution. Southern states Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas will be the EPA's initial focus. And Rihanna is taking the Clara Linnell Foundation to the next level. Some might even say the next sea level. The artist is seeking ways to combat climate change by pledging a total of $15 million to nearly 20 climate justice organizations in the U.S. and Caribbean nations. She says island nations and diverse communities face the hardest setback from climate change, so her grants are focusing on groups with women, 2S LGBTQ, Black, and Indigenous leaders. So if you're looking for a new way to support a cleaner climate, Rihanna's Social Justice Foundation might be worth looking into.
After COVID shut down multiple campus dining locations, a certain cafe is making a comeback.
Find out which popular spot is returning to action.
Plus, Mikayla is back with a look at some possible snow in Norman tonight.
Yeah, we're definitely tracking some snow right now. Here's our latest chances. Could see up to 2 to 3 inches down there to the west, but are we going to see trace amounts or more here in Norman? I'll have all that coming up. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Now, I'm not going to issue a emergency to go run out to your nearest Brahms to get some bread and some milk. I know you can see a lot of snow currently happening right here on our radar. We can see down there areas out to the west. Now, a lot of the snow is actually not even hitting the ground in some areas because while our moisture is super saturated, that area right by the surface is actually really dry air. You can actually see it sometimes if you rub your head and you have some static. So areas here in Norman still having some pretty dry air. So a lot of that won't make it to the surface, but some areas with that heavier snowfall are starting to see some more totals. We still have had 2 inches. That's been about the most that we've seen so far today. Lawton is just now starting to get some of that snow, and it is working its way towards Oklahoma City and Norman. Our snow is coming. While it might not be a lot, but look at these road temperatures. That's really going to play a heavy factor, and you can definitely see where some of this snow has fallen and has started to stick because you can see those road temperatures have dropped down into the 20s, 26 in Elk City. Now here in Norman, we're sitting at 47, 44 in Oklahoma City. So still a bit too warm to kind of keep that snow from melting at first, but the more snow we do get, the more that those temperatures are going to drop like what we saw there. But if we look outside of Oklahoma City right now, we can see clear skies so far. That snow hasn't quite made it to Oklahoma City yet. Temperature sitting at 37, so we're not even at freezing yet. So we do need our temperature just to drop a little bit more. Winds are very light, and our dew point, see right here, that's 7. Again, it's very low, so we have some very, very dry air at the surface. And we can see our temperatures across the metro, 36 Oklahoma City, 37, but out there where that snow has already fallen, Weatherford is at 24, so it's definitely much cooler out there where that snow has fallen, and that cooler air is coming our way, so we can look at the whole state as a whole. 23 in Elk City, so those areas that have seen snow and it's sticking, it's definitely pretty frigid. But you can look down there to our southeast. Idabel's at 47, so if we do have this moisture stick around and push across the state tonight, they're probably not going to see much snow, maybe some mixed precipitation and some really cold rain. Snow chances, though, 2 to 3 inches down there to our far western counties. We can see Elk City has already seen about 1 inch, and some areas already seen 2 inches, so there are slightly getting above those totals. Some maybe areas with a little bit above 3 inches, but we're not expecting a ton of amounts here in Norman, Oklahoma City. Trace amounts, I know it's not something we're super excited about, so you will see some snow, but it's not enough to go make Frosty the Snowman out there. But you can see this is when our snow is going to happen. So 5 p.m., 50% up, and then we really crank it up by 6 p.m. That's when you're really going to start to see the biggest chance of some snow around 6, and then it's going to dwindle down as we continue throughout the evening. So here's our radar right now. 6:30, that's when we're going to have the heaviest snow right over Oklahoma City, Norman, and then that's going to continue to push off out to the east, and we can see areas down there to the south. Just like I said, it's going to start to dwindle if that precipitation can get all the way across, but they're really just going to see lots of rain with that. Our lows tonight, 28 in Norman, 25, but out there to the west again, where they've seen that snow, going to be very chilly. You're going to want to bundle up if you have any plans this evening. And highs tomorrow, we are starting to warm back up, 46 here in Norman, so all the snow that does fall won't be sticking around very long. Very unfortunate, but another cold front slightly between Thursday, and then we're going to start warming back up in the 60s again this weekend. And then we're tracking its system right now by next Wednesday, 29, and we could see some snow chances then, so we'll have more here at OU Nightly. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Mikayla. A campus fan favorite dining location is finally reopened after being closed the past 3.5 semesters. The Bookmark Cafe is the staple of the Bazell Library, and students new and old are excited about the return of this convenient part of the campus experience.
I'd say that it benefits me, in particular, the most because it means that I don't have to go to the Union to get coffee. I can just literally stay right here and study more.
I study here a lot, so having some coffee and some snacks is a pretty good idea.
The Bookmark was scheduled to open last semester but couldn't due to staffing shortages. You know, Kolby, I'm really excited about the Bookmark being back. That was one of my favorite spots freshman year.
Oh yeah, I basically lived there. When I was studying snack all the time, probably too many, but we know that the OU women's basketball team had a tough time recently with that. They got K-State kind of put one over on them, but that doesn't mean they're not still #1 in the Big 12 Conference.
Brooklyn Sweet joins us. Brooklyn, can we expect a thrilling home game this evening?
That's right. You'll want to be courtside in the LNC tonight. Coach Jenny and the ladies have their first Bedlam matchup of the season, and men's basketball is looking to redeem themselves in Morgantown after a 4-game losing streak. Stick around. Sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Brooklyn Sweet, and it's time for sports. With 4 straight losses, Sooner men's basketball is searching for a road win against West Virginia, who's also looking to end their losing streak. Last season, Oklahoma won 91-90 in a double overtime thriller against the Mountaineers. After last week's performance against Baylor, the Sooners hope to put an end to their slump tonight at Morgantown at 7 p.m.
I anticipate them getting up into us, being very, very physical. On the glass, you know, they're elite offensive rebounders. Their bigs are they run one in and after the other, just pound the glass. They got 2 elite scorers in Taz Sherman and McNeil, and then you got a kid, Bridges, who's averaging double figures at the 4. So, I mean, they too are.
I heard there's going to be some chaos tonight at Lloyd Noble. Abbi Bennett is there now with some insight on Sooner hoops.
Thanks, Brooklyn. I'm standing outside the LNC where women's basketball will host the Cowgirls in their Bedlam matchup tonight at 6. Now, last year, the Sooners fell to the OSU Cowgirls in the Big 12 Conference quarterfinals, 89-80 in overtime. Taylor Robertson led the Sooners with 24 points, and Maddie Williams was right behind her, tallying 22 points. Now, the Sooners are tied for first in the Big 12 and have won 13 of their last 15 games this season. But unfortunately, they were unable to pull off the win on Sunday against K-State, but hopefully tonight they can jump back on the saddle for head coach Jenny Baranczyk's Bedlam debut.
OU infielder Peyton Graham was selected to the preseason All-Big 12 baseball team voted on by the league's head coaches. The third-year sophomore batted a .288 with 47 runs scored in 53 games during his first full collegiate season for the Sooners last spring. Oklahoma baseball hosts Wichita State for its season home opener February 22nd. Oklahoma softball will start 2022 exactly where they left off last season, at the top. The reigning national champions ranked as the unanimous #1 team in the USA softball polls. This year's Player of the Year watch list came out, and you'll recognize 4 of the Sooners on the student athlete list. Redshirt senior Jocelyn Allo is one of the 4 hoping to win once again. After 16 seasons with the New Orleans Saints, head coach Sean Payton steps down from his role, and he got a little emotional during his farewell press conference on Tuesday.
It kind of feels good.
I don't know about you guys. But I'm going to need a big glass of water after watching that heartfelt farewell. Jessie, Kolby, back to you guys.
Thanks, Brooklyn. A 9-year-old girl in Colorado is going viral with her skills with a needle and thread.
We'll tell you more about this new TikTok prodigy when we return.
I'm Bailey Coyle at the OU Nightly Update Desk. A Texas man has been federally charged after authorities say he sold a gun to a suspect used to hold 4 people hostage in Colleyville earlier this month. Henry Michael Williams was charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. Authorities say Williams sold the gun on January 13th, 2 days before the hostage situation. Jessie, Kolby.
Thanks, Bailey. A 9-year-old fashionista, Kaya Argon, is breaking the internet. Her mom began sharing videos of the young designer creating her own custom clothing and has since become a TikTok sensation. Turning her hallway into her runway, her videos have received millions of views, and she's even been recognized by designer Vera Wang. I might need Kaya to design me a new winter coat with how cold it's been here in Norman. I'll make sure to drop her a line and get you one. But first, let's take one last look at the chance for snow. Mikayla?
Can you go ahead and fill me in on getting a coat from her as well, too? That would be really nice. But yeah, Thursday, tomorrow, 46. So we do have a slight cold front. It's not really going to drop our temperatures wise, just those winds. See, they're going to come out of the northwest. But we are going to get sunshine behind that cold front for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Clouds start to max bang. We're going to be in the 60s, though, on Saturday. So a big warm up from tomorrow into Saturday. We're definitely going to have a big temperature change. And then next week, though, we're tracking our next Cold system we're going to see Tuesday into Wednesday. That's a 30-degree plus temperature change. So we have a large Arctic air mass that's going to move into our area, and we're going to be tracking some snow showers as well with that. So we'll keep you more updated to that on coming up with OU Nightly as you keep track throughout the rest of this week. But be warm for the next few days and then enjoy this weekend and then get ready to have that winter coat again.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a winter coat from her.
Oh,
We
yeah.
gotta figure it out.
Oh,
We're gonna contact her.
Yeah, we
She's
will.
gonna start making them just for us.
Just for us.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Make sure to tune in every weekday at 4:30 to watch OU Nightly.
Don't forget to bundle up and stay warm during this winter weather advisory.
Have a great evening.